Let's instantiate this mutable live data. And because this current random fruit name is private, we also need to have a public val current random fruit name. And why we are doing this is because we don't want to expose mutable live data to outside classes, because mutable live data's value can be changed. We only want to expose live data which value cannot be changed. So we only want to change the value of our mutable live data from within the fake repository object and not from outside. This is really good practice to have to do some information hiding and encapsulation. So live data, this is of type live data string, and it's going to only have a getter, so this is get only property, and we are going to simply return current random fruit name, and it's going to be automatically cast to live data instead of mutable live data. This is the underlying current random fruit name, and as you can see, this is what we are gonna use in the first text view, which will display the random fruit. Yeah, it's not directly from the repository, but rather from a view model. But the view model will simply only get the data from our repository. So once we have the repository created, creating the view model will go like a breeze. Now let's go back to the fake repository and let's create an init block, which is something basically like a constructor. So whenever the fake repository instance is created, this init block will run. And over here, we want to set our mutable live data's current random fruit name value to be equal to fruit names. And we want to get the first, which is apple. So this is just setting up our current random fruit name. And then we also want to have a function for get random fruit name, which is going to return a string. And basically we are just going to create a random. So Java random from Java util, instantiate it, and we are going to simply return fruit names. And we want to get the random fruit name at index, which is random.nextInt, and we want to set the upper bound to be fruit names dot size so that we don't get any invalid array index exceptions. We're gonna use this function inside this fake repository in the next function that we are going to write here, and also in the view model directly. So this is really just some helper function, this get random fruit name, and then the last function inside this repository will be change current random fruit name. And this will simply get the current random fruit name and set its value to be equal to get random fruit name, and that's it. Now let's create main view model, which is going to be a class bindable will be actually working. And yes, we can now hit Alt Enter and import the bindable attribute, and all is nice and fine. So this is the value used for two-way data binding, and as I am saying probably already for the third time, when the value changes in the code, it will be shown on the screen. When the user changes the value which is written inside the UI, it's also going to be changed inside this property. And because we are using this property for two-way data binding, we need to expose it as mutable live data, because otherwise the layout won't be able to access the value property of mutable live data, which is sad that we really need to expose mutable live data, but hey, if it's gonna save us some time and effort, why not? However, if you aren't using two-way data binding, I would always suggest that you don't expose mutable live data directly, but that you only expose live data to outside classes, because that's just going to make your code much safer. Alright, now let's create another pair of properties for displayed edit text content. So we are again going to have only a private mutable live data. So displayed edit text content. and it's gonna be equal to mutable live data of type string, and also instantiate it over here. And then we are gonna have a public displayed edit text content. So let's just copy and paste the name in here, and it's going to be of type live data, also string, if I could spell. And it's going to only have a getter, just like what we have inside the repository. This is the same concept, that we are only exposing the live data, and the getter will simply return displayed edit text content. This is the live data that will reflect whatever is inside the edit text content when we press the button here, this display edit text content button. When this is pressed, the value of our displayed edit text content property will be changed. And the value will be changed right inside this function, which name is on display edit text content click. And whenever the button is clicked, we are simply gonna set the value of display edit text content value, not val, to be equal to edit text content dot value. So we only set the value here, and data binding takes care of showing this new value in the UI. This is the function which is called from our data bindings layout from this button here. So view model on display edit text content click. And again, you can get the code from the link in the video description and then examine it more thoroughly. And then the last function, which is for the last button inside our layout, which simply takes some value, some random fruit value, and it sets it to be displayed inside our edit text by changing the edit text content. This function's name is onSelect random edit text fruit. And it's going to select what it says. So we are gonna say edit text content dot value, and it's gonna be equal to fake repository dot get random fruit name. All right, and now the last thing which we need to do to get this working is to go to our main activity, and over here we need to change some things. So first up, we need to get our main view model